Hey everyone, yeah, I'm in my secret bunker right now because I know the truth. I try to explain it to people, but they don't listen. They just scoff me off. So I thought maybe if I made this into a video and upload it online, people would believe me because everyone believes what they see on the internet. What am I talking about? Well, you see, I know the truth. Freddy Fazbear actually has a chance to be in Smash. You laugh, but it's true.
Yep, more Smash predictions, but instead of playing it safe like last time and think about it reasonably, today I thought it would be much more fun to look at certain characters and look for any kind of evidence that I can twist and misinterpret to prove my own hardly stable points. And to really demonstrate how I have completely gone off the deep end, let's take a quick look at those Crash Bandicoot theories. Now, many of you might have seen people speculating whether or not this clock image that Sakurai posted on his picture of the day thing he's doing is a hint to Crash Bandicoot. Now, most people who are intelligent and reasonable would look at this and go, yep, that means absolutely nothing. People are looking way too deep into this. But unfortunately, my brain is barely comparable to Nat, so I thought, if this is a hint, then why only for Crash Bandicoot? Why would other characters not have this kind of treatment? And I think it might be possible that this quote-unquote hint might be something that was specifically requested by Activision. If we look at Activision's past, there has been a couple of times where they dropped hints for upcoming things for the Orange Rodent. The most obvious being the time when they sent a couple of furry dice to the Game Awards before the announcement of the racing game. You know what I'm talking about. So I think they might have asked Sakurai and Nintendo if they could do something with Crash and Smash, and Sakurai thought, why not this clock image for a random pick of the day? It's inconspicuous enough that while few people would pick up on it, it would be largely disregarded by a mass majority of people. I don't know, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But the biggest piece of evidence we have is that Adobe Premiere Pro crashed while I was editing this video.
Do you need any more proof than that?
Anyway, let's move on from bandicoots to birds. Very upset birds at that. Like really angry birds. Like especially this one. What's his deal? But more importantly, let's talk about the Angry Birds. Now, the Angry Birds don't really have any kind of circumstantial evidence that I can misinterpret. It's just that I find it really weird that there isn't even an iota of mobile game representation in Smash. The only ones are 2 music tracks from Fire Emblem Heroes and one from Minecraft Earth. Not even Dragalia Lost, an original IP made in cooperation with Psy Games, specifically for mobile phone, doesn't have any representation in Smash, not even a spirit. So I think if Nintendo decides to go for like a mobile game rep, it would probably be the upset AVs. Now we get into the juiciest part. This part is full on conspiracy theorist boards when it comes to connecting dots and leaping logic, so you all better strap yourselves in and bear with me here because we're gonna go on for a ride. Let's take a quick look back when the Sans Me costume was first announced. He was the first of these Deluxe Me costumes, and almost every character after has come along with a Deluxe Me costume as well. The only ones who didn't were Terry and Sephiroth. Why did these two characters not get one? Well, I think for Sephiroth's case, it was because Sakurai wanted to use the Me costumes as an opportunity to put in as much Final Fantasy representation in Smash as possible, plus Geno. So I think they decided just to skip out on like the special Me costume this time around. But what about Terry? I think it's possible that this whole Deluxe Me costume thing wasn't going to be a regular thing. Sans might have been planned to be the only one, but after his massive success, they decided to do more. Now, this is assuming that the Me costumes are not decided ahead of time like the characters. Sakurai really hasn't talked much about the Me costumes, so all we can really go off of is just assumptions. The only thing we really have is in his Steve demonstration. He states due to them wanting to focus on Minecraft, there wouldn't be really a big new Me costume, which seems to imply they aren't decided beforehand. So if we assume that Sans was to be the only Deluxe Me costume, why him? Out of all the characters, why Sans? I think it's possible that Sans was actually considered to be a playable character. Someone at Nintendo approached Sakurai with the possibility, but for one reason or another, Sakurai ultimately decided against it. Now the question is, why would he do that? One argument you could make is that there just wasn't a whole lot to pull from in terms of the moveset, like the final boss is really it. But Sakurai has made movesets out of a lot less. I don't think that would be a defining factor. I think the main point Sakurai probably didn't think Sans would really represent Undertale very well. What do I mean? Well, when Sakurai puts in a character, he doesn't just want to make them fight with moves pulled from their games. He wants to make it as if the piece of a game came to Smash. And Sans would not be necessarily a good character for that. At least not the first choice for a character from Undertale. If you want something to represent Undertale better, you'd probably have to go with Frisk. But people didn't want Frisk. They wanted Sans. So as a compromise, he put Sans in as what we know now as a Deluxe Me costume.
There's also the possibility that maybe it was Nintendo's decision to ultimately just put him as a Me costume, because they thought, like, we could put him in as a character, but we're not just sure if that would sell. So to play it safe, they just put him in as a Me costume.
Why am I telling you all this? Well, I think it's possible that after the success of Sans, it helps Nintendo more than ever realize that an indie character can sell. And putting one in as a character would not be that big of a risk as they originally might thought it would be. And so, if Sans is in as a Me costume, what other indie character could possibly rival his popularity? I believe those characters would be Reimu from the Toho series and Freddy Fazbear from Five Nights at Freddy's. Why those specifically? Well, for one, they're intensely popular. If any indie character were to guarantee a profit, it would be them. And secondly, these two are really the only examples of an indie being turned into like a full-blown franchise with multiple games and a lot of spin-offs. I know Toho has like, I think some OVAs, and Freddy Fazbear is getting a movie, so they're pretty popular. I'm sure there's some other examples, but these are the two biggest ones. Toho has been around since 1996 and has had about 23 mainline games and plenty of spin-off, while Five Nights at Freddy's has 5 mainline games and 4 or so spin-offs. For Nintendo, if they wanted to make the most risk-free approach when putting an indie character, these two would probably be the ones they go after. Now, many people might bring up that Freddy can't get in because he has no moves to pull from. If it will make them money, they're at least gonna make an attempt to put him in the game. Their end goal is to ultimately make a profit, and if putting a robotic murderous bear with a corpse of a child stuffed inside of him is gonna make them money, they'll do it. Now, I do think Toho does have a leg up over Mr. Fredrickson here, simply because she has a much bigger presence in Japan. Freddy has a fan base there too, but he's much more niche in comparison. But who knows? Now, realistically speaking, do I honestly believe any of this stuff is gonna happen?
Yes!
No, I don't. But I thought it would be fun, and hey, if any of this does end up coming true, then I could say I was the first to call it. And at the end of the day, isn't that what really matters?
Now do you believe me? You don't? Oh, you think I'm still crazy, don't you? You haven't seen crazy, let me tell you.
Hey, I got a crazy theory. I think Tak actually has a chance to be in Smash.
Now that guy is crazy. You see? Do you believe me now? You don't? Okay. You know what? Fine. Whatever. Sure. Whatever. Fine. I forget the line. Ugh.